Hey there guys, welcome back. Hope we're all doing well. This is Chethan here from DoubleCube and welcome back to a brand new Photoshop tutorial. In today's tutorial, we're going to be learning to create this banner over here. As you can see, it's I don't know what to call it, so I called it dual display because you can put things on the either sides. So if you guys are Call of Duty players or Overwatch players or Clash of Clans and Clash or whatever it is, you guys can go ahead. So I'm going to be doing a complete breakdown of this right now. So I'm not going to be doing it from scratch. As you guys know, I always make my tutorials explaining in brief and in detail each of the layers. So we're going to start off with okay, let me just hide all of this now and we can start a fresh. All right, so the first thing is we have a plain background which is white in color and it need not be, and then we have this clouds layer. Okay, so if I set the blending mode of this to normal, we have something like this. Now how do you get this clouds? You want to make sure your foreground color and background color is black and white, and then on a new layer you want to go to filter, you want to go to render, and you want to choose clouds, and that's going to apply this thing for us. And then you want to go set the blending mode to overlay and the opacity to 30, which is going to give us a slight nice feel. So if I uncheck it, I don't think you can probably see it from there, but it gives you a good feel. Maybe you can go ahead and increase the brightness to 70 or maybe even to 100. Let's keep it to 100. I think 100 is too much. Let's keep it to 70. All right, then now we want to create this layer. So we create a new layer. So by clicking on this button, by creating a new layer. And now once we do that, we want to go select the pen tool by pressing P on the keyboard, and we just want to draw out something that looks like this. And once we have that, let me just put this down. All right, let me just hide this for now. And you want to go choose a color of your choice. So let's try with this color, and you want to hold Control Enter and then right click. You want to make sure you're in the rectangle marquee tool, and you want to right click and choose fill, and you want to choose whatever we want, so the foreground color, and click on OK, and that's going to fill that up pretty cool over there. So that's how you create this layer. And then I've added a couple of layer styles. So there's a simple gradient overlay with a white to black with an blending mode set to overlay and opacity to 7, and a simple drop shadow of 45 on the opacity and 10 on the size. All right. And then here I've set the blending mode to linear burn. So linear burn, and the opacity down to 75%. So yeah. And now we're going to go ahead and import our picture. So see, as you can see, I actually just took So I actually went and got a snapshot on one of the videos, and it's black and white. All right. So how do you set it to black and white? It's pretty simple. So when you have the layer that we have over here, if I go set this to normal, it's going to be in that color. But if I go and set the blending mode to luminosity, it's going to turn it to a black and white. Not exactly black and white, based on the color of your background, it's going to change. So if I move it up to the side over here, you can see we have this, right? So okay, and then we want to go and hold on Alt and come here, and that's going to give us this box and the arrow, and if you click on that, it's going to clip it up only to this much. It's called as a clipping mask. So if I right click, and if I choose release clipping mask, it's going to remove that. If I right click and choose create clipping mask, it's going to create that for me. And all right, so the next thing is I have this nice simple background, which is a simple, if I show you the complete thing, it's a background like this, and I just went set the blending mode to overlay and the opacity to 35, and create a clipping mask, and just place it there somewhere. All right, so then what we want to do is you can select the whole thing, duplicate that by pressing Ctrl or Command J, and once you duplicate that, we get a bunch of these things. So I just had to right click, so Ctrl T to transform, right click and flip horizontal, and that's what I did to transform it. And then I did the same thing, just put a simple picture over here, and also this. Great. So once we have that, we can go ahead and create the centerpiece that we have over here. So I think, as you can see, the clouds is pretty dominating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the clouds and set the blending mode, so opacity to 35%. So that's pretty important. All right, so here what we have is, so the way to create this, let me just hide this and show you guys. So let me just actually copy the color data. All right, and what we want to do is we're going to create a new layer, and then we want to fill this with the foreground. So we're going to press Alt and backspace, and that's going to create that for us. But now we want only this part, so only the middle part. So what you want to do is you want to click on the thumbnail by holding on Control and clicking on this, and it's going to create a selection. You want to hold down Shift and Control and click on this, and it's going to add on to the selection. And then you want to hit delete, but when you hit delete, make sure you are on this layer, and that's going to cut it out there for us. Pretty cool and pretty awesome. All right, and then you're going to go and let me just actually delete this layer and show you the original layer. And I set the blending mode to linear burn. So if I set it to normal, it's going to give me a different effect. If I go set it to linear burn, it's going to give me a different effect. All right, and then I imported my logo over here, and I set the blending mode of this to luminosity and setting mode to the opacity to 3, and I just scale it up pretty high and just placed it on top. So that creates our background. Next, we can go ahead and add in our social media links, which is pretty fair, simple. So let me just show you the layer style that I've added. I think that should be good. So create a new text layer. You can come here and click on this button, and you can create a text layer, or you can press T on the keyboard and create a text layer, and that's going to create a beautiful text layer. And the layer style that I'm using is an inner shadow with an overlay set to a white overlay with an opacity to 50, the angle set to 60, which actually does not matter because the distance is just 1 and it's very minimal, and the size is set to 3. And we have a gradient overlay with opacity set to 10, and the black to white gradient, and we have also a simple drop shadow of 1 and 3 on the distance and size, and opacity set to 45. Now the color, if you guys are interested, is this color. So if I come over here, so this color that we have over here is 7FBABE, 7F Babe. Okay, let me just actually color up the whole thing. All right, great. Okay, now the same thing applies for my logo over here. So it's just a simple logo. Copy paste the layer style by right clicking, copy layer style, and come over here, right click and choose paste layer style, and that's going to do the same thing. And I just had to change the color of the gradient overlay to match it. All right, now we have the social media links. So it's basically just copy paste the layer styles, duplicate the layers, and then you get, so you just have to get these from from the internet or a resource pack, and you can apply the same layer style. So the color, if you guys are interested, is so I added a color overlay, and the color I'm using is BEB27F, and that is the color that I am using. All right, so and then I just had to place it somewhere cool, and just we're gonna add some color correction now. So if I open up the color correction, we have a lot of things. So let me just show you important things. All right, okay, so the first one is we have this background picture. So if I set the blending mode to normal and opacity to 100, we see we have this nice grunge effect. So I'm gonna go and set the blending mode to soft light, and I'm gonna set the opacity to 15, and we get this nice background texture, which is on overlaying everything and gives you a beautiful effect. The next thing is we're gonna go create a vignette. So vignette is basically the center portion is white, is transparent, and the edges are black in color. So how do we create a vignette? Let's do it from scratch. So create a new layer, and I'm gonna go and fill this with the black. So once I fill it with the black, I'm gonna press E on the keyboard, is going to be my erase tool, and I'm gonna create pretty big an eraser size, and make sure your brush is a soft brush with a hardness set to 0. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start clicking. So it kind of expands and expands till you decide till it suits your liking, and then just go and set the opacity down to 30, and that's going to give me a nice vignette effect. So there you go, nice vignette. I'm just going to delete this and use my original one, and now we have something which is the border. So this is a pretty cool thing which I actually did not know, and I actually really like it. So how do we create this border? So what you want to do is you actually want to go and let's go to background, and so you want to control click the background that we have over here, and then you want to go to select, modify, and choose border. And once you choose a border, you want to set the width to 2, and this is going to give us this nice selection over here. And then on a new layer, you want to go and fill this up with white. So you want to hold down, so if your foreground color is white, you want to choose Alt and delete. If your background color is white, you want to choose Control and delete. And once you do that, we can see this nice white border that we have over here. And I'm just going to go and set the blending mode of this to overlay, and just reduce down the opacity down to 70%. So that gives us this nice clean border. So I'm just actually going to use my original one over here, and as you can see over here, it's a beautiful border and looks great. All right, the next we have a top glow. So you want to create a new layer, press B on the keyboard, just give it the brush tool. Make sure your foreground color is set to white, and just increase the brush size by pressing your square bracket keys, and then you just want to click over here. That's going to give us this nice beautiful glow. And I just set the opacity, the blending mode to overlay, and that is pretty much it. All right, so that's pretty much it. So if I uncheck it, we got a nice glow. Now we are going to add the main color correction. We're going to add a brightness and contrast. So the settings is -20 on the brightness and 20 on the contrast. Let's see what happens if we reverse it. No, we want a brightness to -20 and the brightness to -20 and the contrast to 20. All right, then we have a gradient map. So in the gradient map, we have set the blending mode to soft light and the opacity to 50, and it's just a black and white gradient. And then we have the levels adjustment. So the levels, if I show you the levels, it's the whites, I've set that down to 210. Then we have a hue and saturation, where we have just set the saturation down to 15, so we get more color and it looks stunningly beautiful. So that is pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, do feel free to give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. If you have any questions or requests, or you guys want to come in contact with me, all the social media links are down below in the description, and I'm always available, and I try to answer any questions or any requests as soon as possible. And I'll see you guys in my next video. So till then, take care and bye bye.